In many workplaces, confidence is praised in theory, but policed in practice. You're encouraged to speak up, contribute ideas, and take initiative, until the moment your confidence becomes noticeable. What's welcomed in one voice is questioned in another, and the line between assertive and inappropriate shifts depending on who's speaking. Over time, this creates a quiet calculation. You don't just think about what you're saying, you think about how it will land and how it will be interpreted, and whether confidence will be read as competence or attitude in that room. This situation feels tense because confidence at work is filtered through unspoken expectations. Assertiveness is treated as a neutral trait on paper, but in practice, it's interpreted through gendered assumptions about tone, likability, and deference. The same behavior can be framed as leadership or overstepping, clarity or aggression, depending on who's expressing it. Meetings make this tension visible. Ideas are interrupted, redirected, or restated by others and received differently. Speaking with certainty can invite scrutiny rather than trust, while hesitation is read as a lack of authority. The pressure isn't just to contribute, it's to contribute in a way that doesn't disrupt the comfort of the room. Interpretations play a key role here. They don't always come as outright dismissal. Often they're subtle, talking over, reframing, moving past a point before it's finished. Over time, these patterns teach a lesson. Confidence is acceptable only when it stays within invisible boundaries. Crossing them doesn't just challenge ideas, it challenges the social order that decides who gets to be heard. Picture a meeting where a woman presents an idea clearly and with confidence. She's prepared, direct, and concise. As she speaks, the room stays neutral, attentive but reserved. A few minutes later, the same idea is echoed by someone else, reframed with slightly different wording, and suddenly it lands. Heads nod. Credit shifts. Or think of the moment she pushes back on a decision. Not emotionally, just firmly. The response isn't engagement with the substance of what she said, but a shift in tone. She's described as intense, difficult, or having an edge. The conversation moves away from the idea itself and toward managing her presence in the room. Nothing explicit is said, no rule is broken, but the message is received. Confidence is allowed as long as it doesn't challenge who's expected to hold authority. The shift comes when confidence is understood not as a personal trait, but as a behavior that's interpreted through power and expectation. The issue isn't that confidence is inherently risky, it's that some environments are calibrated to receive it unevenly. What feels like punishment isn't a response to the assertiveness itself, but to who is asserting it and how that assertion alters the room's balance. Seeing this clearly separates self-trust from self-blame. It allows you to stop internalizing reactions that are really about preserving hierarchy rather than evaluating ideas. Confidence doesn't suddenly become inappropriate because you expressed it well. It becomes uncomfortable when it disrupts assumptions about who is meant to lead, decide, or speak last. This perspective restores clarity. It reminds you that the tension you feel isn't evidence of miscalculation. It's often evidence that your presence is being measured against expectations that were never neutral to begin with. Navigating confidence in workplaces that punish it unevenly doesn't require shrinking or overcorrecting. It starts with anchoring your confidence in substance rather than approval. Clear preparation, concise language, and steady delivery reduce the room's ability to reframe your confidence as performance instead of competence. In moments of interpretation, calm persistence matters. Return to your point without escalation. I'd like to finish this thought, or to complete what I was saying, keeps authority focused on the idea rather than the interpretation of it. These responses aren't confrontational, they're orienting. It also helps to decouple confidence from outcome. Not every idea will be received fairly, and not every reaction is yours to manage. When confidence is grounded in clarity rather than acceptance, it becomes easier to speak with intention, even in rooms that aren't built to receive it evenly. Workplace cultures often describe themselves as merit-based while quietly reinforcing comfort-based hierarchies. Confidence is encouraged as long as it aligns with familiar voices and established authority. When it doesn't, it's reframed, not as leadership, but as disruption. This allows organizations to appear supportive of assertiveness while maintaining the same power distribution underneath. These dynamics persist because they're rarely explicit. Double standards don't need policies to survive. They rely on tone policing, selective validation, and subtle social cues that shape who feels safe while speaking. Over time, people adapt, not by becoming less capable, but by becoming more cautious about when and how they show confidence. Recognizing this pattern reframes experience from personal shortcoming to structural friction. It invites a more honest conversation about how authority is recognized, whose confidence is trusted by default, and what workplaces unintentionally teach people about staying visible without overstepping. When confidence feels punished, it's often because it's being evaluated through expectations that were never neutral. Awareness allows you to separate your clarity from the reactions it provokes, and to decide when speaking up is worth the cost in a given space. If this resonates, we explore how power, perception, and expectation shape everyday interactions across our work on navigating modern social spaces with clarity and dignity.